Hi, Chris Higgins here. Just before I start, because I have dementia, it will few words from me. So as you're listening to this, I will hesitate and pause and just bear with me, please. And I will carry on from the story. I was trained as a soldier by the British Army as a member of the Territorial Army Volunteer Reserves. And uh, we do have a sense of humour. A lot of people call us Dad's Army or pretend soldiers or weekend soldiers, all that kind of thing. It's very funny. But we are um, trained by the British Army regulars and we uh, support them whenever they need us. Uh, Whenever the British Army regulars go to war and they need backup, Territorial Army soldiers hit the ground running. But this story's got nothing to do with what I'm going to tell. While I was in the territorials, I was a lorry driver, and my main job was an ambulance driver. And this is what I drove. Get this up. So that's what I trained as an ambulance driver. And during our training, way back in the day, we had to do a week training in nuclear biochemical warfare. In order to get an idea of what we had to do if we were ever hit by such a thing, we had to live like this for a week. You see that suit and that mask? We slept in it, we drove in it, we never took it off for a whole week. Now, the reason I'm telling you this is because what we know as COVID, the Chinese viral disease, the V stands for virus, and that's a lie. It's not a virus. It's a biochemical agent that is designed for warfare. And just bear with me here while I get my head together. Whenever COVID hit, the governments around the world said to 8 billion people, put a mask on, go into your house, and don't come out. And 8 billion people done that. I am absolutely astonished. I just, that people will bow down to what their governments say. Yet you don't realise that the government are our servants, we're not theirs. And they haven't done their job right. They are not looking after us. This COVID. Right. As you can see from that suit I would wear for a week, that's what keeps the chemical out of your system, away from your body, away from your lungs. Not a little bitty paper mask or tiny cloth mask. It's completely useless. And even during our training for the nuclear biochemical warfare, we were told that if it did break out, we would be issued with um, our own injections so that if we succumb to the chemical, we could inject ourselves with the antidote. Now, this vaccine that the governments have thrown out around the world is not a vaccine, it's an antidote because they know that what has been accidentally released by the Chinese labs is a chemical, not a virus. So they're injecting all the world population with this antidote in the hope that whenever you get hit by it, the antidote will protect you. Um, I thought this would be a bit easier than this. Just put this out. If we, the Chinese are looking to take over the world. It sounds a bit strange, a bit creepy and mad. You might think I just completely off my head. But if you think um, along the lines of, start with a proverb, slowly, slowly catch a monkey. That's a Chinese proverb. And they are slowly, slowly catching us. Whenever I was a child and I would go to the shop with my pocket money, I would like to buy a wee lucky bag. Terrific, great fun. 1D, or 1.5D, penny havens for a wee lucky bag. And you didn't know what was in it until you opened it and dug in. And we child of 3, 4, 5, 6 was in his element or her element, digging in this wee lucky bag. Because there was ones for girls and ones for boys, or ones where we didn't care what you were. And it was good fun. And then inside these wee lucky bags were, just for instance, a wee plastic toy car would be that size. And it wouldn't even be a thick toy car, it'd be just a wee shell that size. And the Chinese were the ones who filled these lucky bags. And that wee tiny itsy bitsy plastic car would have cost them like a millionth of a penny to process. And we bought them in their trillions, their billions and trillions. So the Chinese were a world leader in the marketing industry, and they have taken over the world of economics. You think that the United States of America are the most powerful in the world economically. You think that the British Empire is up there along with the United States and Russia seems to be alongside them. Well, that's not true. The Chinese economy market are far, far more advanced than anybody else in the world. You ask any Australian about their government, they're so upset with their government because when their government was running a bit low on money, it didn't really matter that they were part of the British Empire. They went, I know what we'll do. I know somebody who has a lot of money who can lend us. The Chinese, so they did. And now with what's going on in Australia with the coal mines, the Chinese own the coal mines and demanding that they should be allowed to open them up and wreck the whole nature of the um, continent. Um, Same with uh, Britain. You think the British Empire, the size it was, would be one of the most powerful in the world? Well, the British Empire is falling to bits. It's had its 500 years um, reign. Today, Boris Johnson's completely destroying it. First of all, by pulling out of Europe, um, he, he was supposed to pull out of Europe and make Britain better. What he's done, he's divided the nation. He's got the Scottish Parliament are about to leave the Union, and the Northern Ireland Parliament might not want to leave the Union, but that's the way the cookie crumbles. So the British Empire is coming to a real dead end here. The European government are run about like headless chickens because they're trying to balance and juggle all the different countries that we have together and see if the rich countries can look after the poor countries. And in the meantime, when they need money, they can't go to the Americans because the Americans don't have any money. So they go to the Chinese because they can lend the money. So far, the Chinese have the upper hand, and this so-called virus that has spread around the world is a trial from the Chinese uh, powers to see what way the land lays. And I can't even look us in the face to say these things. But in the jungle drums, the next big thing is around about 2026, where the superpowers will be at loggerheads as to see who can rule the world. And no matter what way you cut it, the Chinese have the upper hand. They have all the technology and they have all the money. And our um, presidents and prime ministers and all across the rest of the world are all scratching their heads or burying their heads in the sand. They just don't know what way to turn. They don't know what is hit. And that's my point of view. I'll leave you all with that thought. Thank you.